So when you start with this spreadsheet, the first thing that you're going to do is to go ahead and make a line graph, otherwise known as a scatter graph, in Microsoft Excel. So look carefully at what's being chosen here. It's the scatter graph option, not the line graph option. Now, because we want to analyze both the myelinated and the non-myelinated options, we need to define the series that are being presented on this graph. So we're just checking right here that the data for the X and the Y axes is correct for the myelinated axons. So we can also take the opportunity here to name the series myelinated axons so that it will come up in the legend for the graph. In order to see that, we actually need to go and add chart element and select under chart elements the legend so that we can see that the series presented is for myelinated axons. Now to add the other series, we select data again, only this time we're going to add the other series manually. So we press add and then we choose the X values, so those for diameter, and then we also choose the Y values, so those for velocity. And this should place the data for the non-myelinated axons on the graph. So we can also label this series so that it too appears in the legend. Once both of these series are added, the graph might look a little odd to you. One of the lines seems to be going almost vertical, but if you actually look at the data, you will see that the points plotted align to the data in the table for both myelinated and non-myelinated axons. So now we're going to go ahead and make sure that this graph is presentable. So that means adding chart elements for both the x-axis and the y-axis, ensuring that we specify the variable and the units in which it is measured. So now that we have the data plotted, we should add a linear trend line so that we can see the equation for the line and the R-squared value, and this allows us to analyze the data further. So choose your points for example, non-myelinated axons here, and add chart element, you're going to do linear trend line. Now once you click then, after the linear trend line has been added, you have the choice to display the equation and the R-squared value on the chart, and you can move it so it's easily readable. So repeating that for the myelinated axons, you're going to add chart element, add the linear trend line, and then choose to display the equation and the R-squared value on the chart. At that point, you will have the equation and R-squared value displayed for both the myelinated and the non-myelinated axons, so you can proceed with your analysis. And lastly here, just to make sure that this graph is presentable, it is currently missing a title, so we can add chart element, we can choose a chart title, and above the chart we can give the chart a name. And any chart or graph we present should always have a full sentence title that refers to both the X and the Y axes along with each of the series that is being plotted. So in this case, both the non-myelinated and the myelinated axons. So once you've added that graph title, you now have a complete graph you can use for your analysis.